Right, settle down, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's crack on, shall we? Welcome to this meeting of the Institute for Scientific Integrity. This is a section of the Institute known colloquially as our operational arm, otherwise known as the Meat Militia. Field Marshal here. Right. Today, it is my duty to provide for you a position statement in 10 parts for the Meat Militia going forward. So do pay attention. Here is our position statement. Point number 1. There is no indication or no scientific evidence of any kind anywhere that indicates that human beings require any amount of carbohydrate intake in their diets whatsoever. Anyone who states that carbohydrates are required in the human diet is mistaken. There is no science to underpin that assertion whatsoever. There never was any, and there never will be any. Carbohydrates, while human beings can intake an amount of carbohydrate, while human beings can subsist on carbohydrate as an energy source, human beings do not require any whatsoever at any time. Human beings are perfectly capable metabolically of producing all the carbohydrate that is required for the entire lifespan. Position statement point 2. There are no good carbohydrates, neither are there any not as bad for you carbohydrates. All carbohydrates are contraindicated in the human diet. All carbohydrates break down basically to the same thing metabolically, that being glucose. An overplus of glucose in your bloodstream is toxic to your blood itself, to your vascular epithelial cells, and to the cells surrounding those cells as well. Glucose is highly toxic in amounts above that which the body would generate and create for itself using gluconeogenesis, the very factor that I was alluding to in point 1, which indicates that human beings require no carbohydrates in their diet whatsoever. The concept that some carbohydrates are not as bad for you as other carbohydrates is in a fallacious idea known as the GI scale. This is a scale put together by some pseudoscientists using fundamentally flawed scientific procedure or lack of procedure, I should really say, leading to a false conclusion that some forms of carbohydrate break down in the body more slowly than others. Their signal-to-noise ratio on their scientific investigation was such that they are completely unable to make such a claim. It is completely inappropriate. It is completely indefensible in science. All carbohydrates break down to glucose, and the rate at which any given bolus of carbohydrate will break down to glucose in the bloodstream in any given individual on any given day is completely out with the ability of science to predict. Position statement point 3. A correct and species-appropriate diet for Homo sapiens sapiens, aka human beings, is not dogmatic. Neither is it restrictive, neither is it cult-like. It is also not a fad. A correct species-specific diet for human beings is prudent, sensible, and well worth both going after, attempting to achieve as closely as possible, and advocating for the need to remain within its tenets and within its disciplines. Position statement point 4. Meat is not bad for you in any way. There is no scientific evidence existing anywhere in the literature which indicates otherwise. There are no experimental studies linking meat to any disease process of any kind in human beings published any time up to the current day, which is the 23rd of November 2020, or the 22nd if you're on the other side of the world where you haven't quite caught up with us yet. Meat is not bad for you in any way. There is no evidence existing to the contrary anywhere in the literature. Position statement point 5. Animal fat is not bad for you in any way. The exact same argument I have just provided for meat exists for fat as well. There is absolutely no evidence existing anywhere in the literature to indicate that animal fat is bad for you in any way. The so-called evidence provided by the so-called branch of nutritional so-called science known as epidemiology actually indicates, for what it's worth, which is nothing, that there is no relationship between the intake of animal fat and disease process of any kind. It doesn't even indicate an association between the intake of animal fat and worse outcomes. Position statement point 6. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease. There is no experimental evidence linking cholesterol with heart disease in a causal fashion. None at all. There never was, and there never will be. Cholesterol is a vital molecule synthesized by the body according to the genetic instructions set forth by the body for the very purposes of carrying around, it's cholesterol that's being carried around by the molecule that's being referred to as cholesterol by people saying that it is bad for us and causes heart disease. Actually, they're talking about lipoproteins, which are not cholesterol anyway. They are the thing that carries cholesterol. Anyway, it does not cause heart disease. None of the lipoproteins cause heart disease in any way. Position statement point 7. Fibre is not required in the human diet. There are no reasons why fibre should be intaken in the human diet, and myriad reasons why it should not. There are all sorts of arguments being put forward by reductionist pseudoscientific crackpots who don't know the first thing about physiology, the microbiome, gut function, or anything else. The exact amount of fibre required in the human diet for health and longevity is none at all. Position statement point 8. The carnivore diet is not deficient for human nutrition in any way. There are no human nutrients or no nutrients required by human beings that human beings cannot derive by eating the flesh and associated fat of animals. None at all. It is a completely adequate diet for human beings. It is a diet which is complete nutritionally, unlike some other diets which lack that particular quality. Position statement point 9. Pastoral animal agriculture is not worse for the environment than horticulture is. Horticulture is the most environmentally devastating undertaking of human beings known. Fact. The science does not support any claim otherwise, never has, and never will. Finally, position statement point 10. Nutritional epidemiology is not science at all. Neither is it evidence of any kind, neither is it admissible as any kind of evidence for any argument to do with any aspect of human nutrition at any time now or in the future. Epidemiology is an associative pseudoscience which is poorly controlled, poorly designed, destitute of discipline of the scientific kind, and in fact usually reports outcome statistics which are fabricated, completely fabricated. In other words, adjusted. So there you go. The BK Institute for Scientific Integrity position statements on human nutrition as supported by us here, absolutely, at the operational arm of the Institute, known colloquially as the Meat Militia. I hope this was of some value to you. If you would like to discuss any of these 10 points, please do so underneath this video. Thank you for your time. Carry on.